Welcome everybody. Today we're going to be traveling to Mazatlan. Mazatlan is known for its beautiful beaches and warm sunny weather. It's also a major resort destination as well as an important Pacific port in Mexico. So before we get started, I have a few tips for any of our new viewers. This is a live presentation, so there might be moments where your screen freezes. Please be patient and it should correct itself within about 30 seconds. If you are viewing today on a handheld device, you may want to unlock your screen view and turn your device sideways to landscape mode, just like that. And we do also have a Q&A chat function that's available on the right-hand side of your screen. At the end of the presentation, we will have a Q&A session with our experts, so please post your questions in the chat and we will ask them during this session. So joining us today, we have Julio from the Mazatlan Tourism Board, plus we have Jenny from our Sell-Off Vacations office in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So thank you for joining us today, Julio. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you very much. Welcome everyone to this wonderful conversation about Mazatlan. My name is Julio Virrueta. I am the director for the Mazatlan Tourism Board, and I hope I can bring you a lot of good news in order to for you to make a decision to come to Mexico. And thank you very much, all the staff from Sell-Off Vacations. Welcome.
Thanks, Julio. So I see you're in Mazatlan on the beach. Can you tell us what the weather's like today?
Yeah, right back here, as you can see, it's wonderful weather. I think there's a difference between 25 and 30 degrees Celsius from here and where you are right now. I hope that really encourages you to come to Mazatlan. It's sunny as usual, as you can see. We have very few days in the year where it rains. So we have over 340 days of sunshine in Mazatlan. So it's time to head south to Mexico, and also just, consider that November to April is the winter season for us, which is like summer, your summer. Thank you.
Okay. And so has Mazatlan reopened for business with COVID protocols in place?
Yes, not 100% because we have a limitation of about 50% for everything like hotels, tours, shops, attractions, but everything is currently open and operating for tourism.
Okay, great. And how many flights a week do you know that are going to Mazatlan from Canada?
Well, usually we are connected with 12 cities from Canada throughout the winter time, a couple of flights during the summer. But due to this situation, we are only operating right now 2 from Calgary nonstop and 3 nonstop from Edmonton weekly. But you can make connections from almost all over Canada. And you can also use the connections, the very convenient connections through US airlines, like from Dallas or from Minneapolis or from Los Angeles. So Phoenix as well is a good connection. So the Sell-Off Vacations agent will give you the best options for sure.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And Mazatlan is definitely popular with Canadians, and it's mostly popular with Canadians from Western Canada. So can you please tell our viewers what you feel attracts those travelers to Mazatlan?
Well, I believe the number one factor is weather, as you can see. Also, it's important to recognize that this destination is the real Mexico. So people come here to see the true Mexico, as we say. Value is another very good factor because people want to stay long when they come from Canada. So in Mazatlan, you will find hotels from 2 stars all the way to Grand Tourism, 5 stars. So it's always a very good value if you want to make long stays. Of course, people also love the combination of a resort city that is within the city of Mazatlan. So beaches are all over the place.
Okay. Now, can you tell, well, speaking of beaches, can you tell the viewers what the beaches are like in Mazatlan?
Yeah, very swimmable. So when you come to Mazatlan, you will find 22 kilometers of beaches. It's gold sand, warm, and as I said before, within the city, which is what people love.
Okay. That's one of the things that I loved most about Mazatlan when I was there was the beach. It is very wide and very long. It is that brown sugary sand, but it's certainly beautiful and very swimmable. So what are some of the absolute must-see and must-do things in Mazatlan when people are visiting?
Well, first of all, if you want to check a little bit of everything, you have to come to Mazatlan for at least a couple of weeks or 3 weeks. Well, if it's not possible, at least 1 week. But it will not be enough, I promise you, because there's so many things to do. You cannot miss the charming villages that we have around Mazatlan, like El Quelite and Concordia. There's a lot of cultural activity around Mazatlan in the historic district and the Angela Peralta Theater that you have to check when you come down here. You have to visit the islands that are around Mazatlan, like the one you see behind me, which is Deer Island. There's beautiful beaches in every single island. Also, if you have time for golf and fishing, that's great in Mazatlan. It's the weather always allows for that. And for those ones who stay here for 2 or 3 weeks, I will recommend a couple of outside tours, outside of Mazatlan tours, where you will stay maybe 2 or 3 nights. One is Durango, which is the area where the old Western movies used to be filmed. It's a colonial town, Durango, only 2.5 to 3 hours away from here by bus. And the other one is the Copper Canyon, which is fantastic and amazing. So those are two of the ones that we recommend outside of Mazatlan when you come down. Those are the ones that you cannot miss, but there's a lot of more, believe me.
Yeah, Copper Canyon is spectacular. It is likened to Grand Canyon, I guess, right?
Yep, it's actually you can fit I actually three big canyon. How do you call the one from Colorado and Arizona?
The Grand
The Grand
Canyon.
Canyon.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Copper Canyon can fit 3 Grand Canyons inside.
Oh,
so
wow.
you can have an idea how large it is.
Okay, that's really neat to know. So what about food and drink? Food and drink are my favorite thing to talk about. So can you tell us what's one food item and one drink item that is an absolute must try when you're visiting Mazatlan?
That's a hard one again because there's so many. But let me start with the drinks, the local drinks, which is the Pacifico beer, which is our local brewery, and also the Los Osuna Blue Agave distillery, which is what everybody else in Mexico calls tequila. It's a very, very good brand, fine brand, by the way. Let me give you two samples of food that you cannot miss. One is the shrimp machaca for breakfast, I will say. And for lunch, how about an aguachile, which is like our local ceviche. I'm sure you have heard about ceviche in Mexico, but our local ceviche is rather called aguachile, made out of raw shrimp.
Okay. I love shrimp, and that is one of the things that I remember most about my trip to Mazatlan was the shrimp is huge and fresh. It's I think you are the shrimping capital of Mexico, is that correct?
That is correct. Nobody else catches more shrimp than us, and actually we even have a shrimp market, by the way. It's a street shrimp market.
Okay. All right. So shopping is usually next on people's list of things to do when they're traveling. Are there any items that are specific to Mazatlan that we should purchase that are unique and can't be found anywhere else?
We always recommend those items that are locally branded, locally manufactured. Let me start with a little town called La Noria. This is the capital of the leather goods in this area. So when you go to visit this village, La Noria, make sure you're going to be able to shop. They make leather goods, all kinds, wallets, purses, masks for decoration, even like the horse saddle for decoration or the real ones. So all kind of leather goods, shoes, sandals. So you need to be ready to shop for that. There's another town called Concordia, and the neighboring little town called Mesillas. They're the capital of the furniture. They make all kinds of furniture, and they make these beautiful, colorful tiles. And all these people, when you buy them, they can ship it back home. So you won't have a problem for that. It's always time to shop when you are around Mazatlan to visit in the villages. And locally, you can go to the local open market. It's very, very popular.
Okay. And when I'm in those markets and when I'm shopping, what sort of currency should I be bringing to destination?
My recommendation is always to bring your debit card and purchase as much as you can with your debit card, because you will get the best rate of exchange through your bank. Just make sure you have your PIN number. There's always, you always have to put a PIN when you purchase something. It's a security issue down here. And then you go from there. If you want to have some cash just for the smaller items, my recommendation is that you go to any of the 18 ATMs around here in the area. Like the major hotels, we have an ATM in their hotel. Other hotels, we have one nearby on the street. So there's always a possibility to pick up some cash in pesos, and we recommend you to do that. You can also bring Canadian smaller bills for tips and everything. We take all kinds of international currency, so you don't have to worry about that.
Okay. And what about, is English widely spoken when I'm around town and at the resorts?
Absolutely. So you will see everybody. We know how to count the money. That's the most important thing. No, just kidding. But you will get yourself understood. Everybody will understand English in the tourist areas, in the cities in the most part. Actually, English is a subject that is taken for 6-year high school, junior high. So everybody understands. You don't have to worry about that. Just make sure you learn 2 words in Spanish, just 2 phrases. One is, where is el baño? Which is, where is the bathroom? That's important. And the second one is, dos cervezas, por favor. 2 beer, please.
I think that's the most important phrase of all when you're on holidays.
Yeah, and it's up to you. If you want to say 10 cervezas, then you have to say 10 cervezas. You have to say 10. Okay, 10.
Okay.
Depends on you. Thank you.
Okay. And what about rainy season? Do you have a rainy season, or when should I go if I want to avoid that rainy season?
It rains very little. Around 10 days in the year when it rains during the day. Maybe 20 that rains during the night, overnight. But it rains very little. It happens usually between July and September. Okay. It's supposed to be, the rainy season. Roughly it rains. So anytime during the year, I will say, just if you like the summertime, you can come here too. It's a little bit, humid during July, August, and September. But other than that, for Canadians, it's a wonderful weather, It's like your summer, your spring, summer, year round.
Okay. And what would you say, this is my last question that I have for you, but what would you say is your very best insider tip for traveling to Mazatlan?
Well, my best tip will be that take a city tour. Right the next day when you arrive to Mazatlan. And let me tell you why. Because in the city tour, you get to have a taste of everything, a little bit of everything. The historic district, the open market, the cliff diver point, the promenade that is 7 kilometers long. So you get an insight of everything, but little bit. So as soon as you know that, you can plan your following days. If you say, hey, we were at the open market for only 15 minutes, but I need to see more. So you just take a bus, you take an open air car called Pulmonia. It's very easy to get around, very inexpensive transportation. So you can do whatever you missed on your own. So that will be my best tip, to take a city tour the following day of your arrival.
Okay, Thank you so much, Julio. We're going to have you back in a few minutes for a Q&A session with Shannon. But right now we have Jenny from our Winnipeg office, and Jenny wants to share her memories of her trip to Mazatlan with you.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julio. Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny Lukey from the Winnipeg branch, and I've been with Sell Off Vacations for 7.5 years. Today, I get to talk about my recent adventures to Mazatlan. I was just there in March of 2019. I spent a week at the fabulous Rio Emerald Bay. This is a picture of it from the beach. And I also spent a day at the wonderful El Cid Castilla. Both properties had great hospitality and awesome food. Like Julio recommended, on the second day there, we decided to do a day tour where we got to see a lot of the city, and it was such a great way to get to know Mazatlan. We saw the fresh fish market where they sell crab, lobster, and shrimp. Mazatlan is called the shrimp capital in Mexico, and you can see why from this picture. Holy huge and in my eyes, yummy. You can buy it fresh and just go across the street where you can get it cooked any way you wish right after buying it. It's so clever and convenient. We then went into town to the cathedral, and we got to spend some time in it admiring all the details. Then we just headed down the road to the Mercado Pino Suarez, which is the main market that sells souvenirs for tourists and stuff like this for the locals. After that, they took us down to Old Town to Plaza Machado, which I will talk to you more about later on, and then off to the Malecon to see the Alberca del Mar. It is a sea pool that is for the public, and it's free. It makes swimming in the ocean safe and fun. Then off to the awesome cliff divers. They have to time it till the surf is just in perfectly to make this jump. Here's a video from my coworker of mine. And I'll give a little wave that he's okay. So neat. One day on our own, we took a water taxi to Stone Island for the day. The beach on this island is so unique and soft and such a pretty color. All we did on this island is drink, eat, and visited with friends, but you can also go horseback riding, snorkeling, banana boat rides, kayaking, and boogie boards. Of course, if you would like to pre-plan, we can assist with pre-booking all excursions. That way it'll be in Canadian dollars as well. You'll be booking with someone you trust. If you do like adventure and going off the grid a bit, I recommend going to Old Town during the day and the evening. In the daytime, the Plaza Machado was full of entertainment to see and do. That is me in the butterfly statue that will be in the square. There is restaurants with patios if you want to stop for a drink or a bite to eat. There's also vendors with tables, so you can buy a lot of neat and different souvenirs. Even the locals shop here for purchases such as hair ties and nail polish. Then at night in Old Town, the lights come up from the sidewalks and illuminate the buildings like this. The way to get around Mazatlan is by Pomonias. They are open-air taxis that look like golf carts, and some of them are pimped. Fun is had when riding in these. We took a Pomonia one day to the start of the Malecon. It costs roughly 150 pesos, which is roughly $10 Canadian, from the Rio to there. At the start of the Malecon is the Mazatlan sign. Of course, it's a necessity to get a picture for memories. The Malecon is roughly 13 miles long, so we walked it for a bit. We got to see the baseball diamond and the statue with the baseball team called Venados de Mazatlan. Baseball is popular there, but when we were there, it was the end of the season, so we didn't get to go to the game. They play October to December with playoffs in January, so if you get a chance to go, why not? Also, if you're a big fan of Netflix show like Narcos or El Chapo, like me, the Hotel Miramar is on the Malecon. This is the hotel where El Chapo was arrested. This day was our last day in Mazatlan, so we went to the open air market on the Malecon, close to where the cliff divers were. since there's a lot of vendors to buy last-minute souvenirs from. And then we went to a restaurant along the water's edge to eat. And of course, me being in the shrimp capital, this is what I had to have. Shrimp con ajo, which is garlic. It was so delicious. Then we watched the sunset into the Pacific Ocean, and of course, it's always breathtaking. One more thing we had to do before we left for Canada the next day was ride in the back of a truck, another way to get around Mazatlan. Trust me, this is no different than here in Canada, except for maybe the big speaker. You can see it's right beside me in the picture on the left. That's in the back with you and plays whatever tunes the driver has at a very loud setting. Please reach out to me if Mazatlan is on your bucket list.
Okay, thank you, Jenny. Thanks so much for sharing your vacation memories. And Shannon, how are you today? I think we've got some questions for our experts, Jenny and Julio.
Yes, we do. Thanks, Sherry and Julio and Jenny. That was great. I haven't been to Mazatlan myself, but it looks very authentic for Mexico. So I'd love to get there someday as well. So we definitely have some questions here. I'm going to start going through them. Jenny, I think I'm going to start with you, actually. Yeah. The first one I have here is someone asked, will the flights be happening or permitted by February 12th from Vancouver to Mazatlan?
As of right now, flights are scheduled to leave, but I do advise you to book with an agent just in case if anything changes. We can definitely assist you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, certainly still a fluid situation, but we're certainly here to help anybody that books if there are any changes afterwards. Excellent. Jenny, the next one here I have for you is someone asked, are there islands tourists can go visit when visiting Mazatlan?
There's just a few little islands that you can go to, whether you want to do a day trip or an excursion or whatever. It's Deer Island and Stone Island. I believe there's also another island called Bird Island. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, were you able to see those islands when you were there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I went to the Stone Island. That's the one that I did for a day. It was very beautiful, lots to see and do. So many people on the little island with you, and they are so friendly. So if you want to do something a little bit different than us just sitting there and eating, you can talk to them and they'll let you know what's going on.
Okay, so worth the visit. Like, are there little shopping areas set up or anything like that on the islands, or no?
I'm not too sure.
Don't remember. Okay, I'm just curious.
I'm gonna jump in because I second that. I did Stone Island as well too when I was there, and it was one of the highlights of our trip was going to Stone Island. There were some beach vendors when I was there, and there were some restaurants and bars on the beach as well too.
Excellent. That just kind of always adds to the vibe, right? So I'm always curious about that. So perfect. That's great. Thanks for adding that, Sherry. Excellent. I do have a few more for you, Jenny, but I'm going to pop over to Julio. Julio, what would be your personal favorite restaurant in Mazatlan? I think you might,
Yeah, there's one that I love. Actually, I had the breakfast yesterday and today, by the way. It's called Panama, like the country.
Oh.
So there's 11 different branches throughout the city, and that offers a wide variety of Mexican dishes, regional cuisine, local cuisine, and of course, a lot of shrimp. That will be my favorite. They're open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's one located in the Golden Zone, and one is located right here, where I'm right here right now, which is the Palms Resort. They have a Panama restaurant inside the hotel. And actually they opened this branch last Thursday. Okay,
so there's more than one then.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. And can you get shrimp for breakfast?
Oh, absolutely. The shrimp machaca, which is my favorite, of course.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Oh my. And what would the budget be like the spending? What would should someone kind of expect to spend at a restaurant like that outside of their resort?
I will say for breakfast around $7 or $8 roughly for a complete breakfast, Mexicans
It's
used to
reasonable.
have always used to have a big breakfast. When I go to Canada and I ask people, what do you have for breakfast? Oh, I have a toast and a coffee. What?
Yeah,
That's not a breakfast.
not me. I like eggs. I like my eggs.
Yeah.
Mornings, yeah.
Yeah, for a
Awesome.
lunch, maybe $12,
Okay.
and maybe dinner, $15, $16. But considering that this is a tourist area, it's not very expensive,
Okay.
And of course, if you compare to our Mexican Caribbean or some other
Right.
resorts or the peninsula, is not
Mhm.
very expensive, the
There
Baja.
probably would be some like finer dining options if someone wanted that, I guess. Would there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
many of those options, and of course, if you go for street food, there's a
Hmm.
couple of tours for street food. The ones
Yeah.
which the locals have. You
Hmm.
can do that. It's very funny. It's a lot of fun.
Okay.
Then you will be expecting maybe between 30 and 40% less than what I told you.
Okay. That's great. Thanks so much. Everybody's kind of foodies these days, so I think that's some great information. Sounds like there's lots of options too. So another question I have here, Julio, for you is Mazatlan still known for its nightlife?
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of nightlife in Mazatlan, but a little bit away from, the hotel areas, but
Okay.
available like in the marina area. There's a couple of places, and there's a couple of very good places in the historic district. So it's available, although, at my age, I don't do a lot of that.
No.
Maybe I go to what used to be Mr. Frogs and Your Frogs, and
Right.
maybe just have dinner, go home by 11. That's
Yeah, yeah.
nightlife.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. And I assume is some of the nightlife with COVID in place right now probably not available, or like how does that work for do you know, like if someone wanted to go to Senor Frogs, is it open in the night like it normally would be, like with maybe
Uh,
less people or?
yeah, the bars overall are not operating right now in these
Okay.
conditions.
Yeah.
Overall, there's a few places that are authorized, but with a lot of restrictions. So
Okay.
they don't really look like a normal, nightlife bar at
Right.
this point. But
Yeah.
you can
But
go to those
typically, yeah.
places, have a drink, tables, parasite from the
Yep.
other ones, people wearing the mask, etc.
Okay, perfect. That's great. Perfect. And then one other question here for you, Julio. Is Mazatlan a good destination for children, families?
Absolutely, we're the best family destination in Mexico. So people love to come here because there's a lot of options.
Okay.
The aquarium, the Masawa water park, and also all the other activities are set for children as well, not only for adults. So bring your family. We have a lot of generation groups coming down to Mazatlan from either Mexico or Canada.
Okay. And you had mentioned in your presentation that the beaches are quite swimmable, which is always appealing for families as well.
That is true. Very,
Yeah.
very appealed for families,
Yeah.
and you don't need to go out of Mazatlan to find them. They're here in the city.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that's great. Thanks so much, Julio. Jenny, I'm going to pop back to you. Someone asked if it's safe to travel to Mazatlan.
I would say yes. Mazatlan's very safe. I am a solo female traveler. I go to quite a few places and I never felt once endangered in Mazatlan. So yeah.
Okay, that's excellent. Thanks so much. And another one here, someone mentioned, are there many adult-only options to choose from for resorts?
Unfortunately, there is no adults-only properties
Oh, is that
in
right?
Mazatlan. Yes, it's mostly all family-friendly properties. Like the El Cid Castilla does have a little water park area for kids, and now the Rio Emerald Bay too has built a big water park for kids. So I would say
Okay.
if you want adult-only time, there is an
Yeah.
adults-only section at the El Cid Castilla, but
Okay.
if you're a family, go to Mazatlan.
Okay, That's great. I don't think I personally knew that, so that's great information for consumers. Julio, I'm actually going to pop back to you. Again, I have a question here related to the monarch butterflies. I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer this, but is Mazatlan close to where all the monarch butterflies go in the winter?
Not close. We're
Not close.
about 8 to 9 hours away.
Oh, okay.
It's very reachable through the local scheduled buses, which are very modern. But my recommendation will be to, go to an expert of the monarch butterfly if you want to go there.
Yes.
But it will be like, another trip. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And one last question here I have for the afternoon. Julio, someone mentioned, and we have quite a few clients that ask about this, is can they go fishing in Mazatlan?
Absolutely. We have
Yes.
2 types of fishing here. One is deep sea fishing over the ocean for the big ones. It's catch and release, so they catch the big species and they have to release them unless they're old enough or big or large enough. And the other option is go to the lakes. We have 3 different lakes around Mazatlan, and they can go for the bass fishing.
Okay. Oh,
very,
great.
very popular among those people who love that type of fishing.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's great, Julio. Thank you so much. So much great information there today. I certainly have learned a lot more myself about the destination. So that was the last question for the afternoon. Thank you so much. Sherry, I'm going to put it back to you now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Shannon. I'm going to thank Julio and thank Jenny for sharing your insights on Mazatlan with me today. And thank you to all the viewers who joined us. So if you have posted a question and it didn't get answered, Shannon and Pam, as always, will be on the chat function for about 10 minutes after the presentation to answer those questions. And as always, you are more than welcome to call Sell Off Vacations today. Our phone lines are open until 9 p.m. Toronto time or Eastern time. And you can reach one of our agents at 1-877-735-5633. You can also contact our Mazatlan expert agent that was featured today, Jenny, from our Winnipeg office, and her email is winnipeg@selloffvacations.com. So today's presentation will be posted on our YouTube channel, which is My Sell Off Vacations. And on our channel, you can also view any past presentations as well as our latest, resort and airline COVID safety videos. So please join us next Wednesday when we will be learning about Varadero, Cuba. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.